What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Just got home from work a couple minutes ago and I got a second wind in me, so I want to get one more thing done on this truck. Before we installed this Whirly Fab intake, we started installing a transmission cooler, and that's where I screwed up, because usually, you show the part, you install the part. Well, I got the wild hair at my butt and decided I would figure out mounting for the cooler before I actually showed you the cooler. And by the time I got the mounting figured out, mocked up, I didn't want to take it apart. So let me show you where I left off. So this is the cooler at hand. This is an ATS auxiliary trans cooler. I don't know a lot of details on it, and I'm sorry about that, but I do know that the reviews on it are really good. And what I was saying about mounting, so the other day we decided where we wanted it. It's a little close to the tank, fuel tank, but that's not going to be an issue. It's away from the trans, it's away from the motor. But I wanted to mount it to this cross member right here that's in the body. And to do that, I put nut inserts in the cross member, along with some flat plate, mounted the tranny to the cooler to the flat plate. And my idea was to get it mounted, and then once it was mounted, I was going to take it all apart and show you guys, the process of how I mounted it. Well, once I got it mounted, I decided that wasn't something I wanted to do. So everything is tight, it's mounted, it's solid, it's not going anywhere, it's in a good spot. The lines are going to come out here up to the tranny, no big deal. But one of the things I want to tell you about the cooler right now is this guy right here, this little riser. I thought it was just a riser, but it's actually got thermostatic element, I guess is what they call it. Basically a temp switch. So that will thread into here, and mind you, nothing's tight right now, we need to do that, but that's going to thread into here. And once the incoming temperature to the cooler is 180 degrees, it's going to kick the fan on. Once it kicks the fan on, you know the rest. It's going to cool the fluid's going to come out of here, and it's going to go back to the trans. The way I'm mounting this is going to be the last defense. We're going to go through the factory coolers first, and then this is going to be last, going into the tranny. I figured once this got up to temperature, about 180, then it's really time to buckle down and try to cool this thing down. So that's why I'm mounting this last. I feel good about that. I don't see there being a problem with that. But like I said before, we just need to catch up and pick up where we left off. So this is mounted. This isn't going anywhere. Like I said, there's two pieces of flat bar, right? I put two pieces of flat bar, mounted the cooler to the flat bar, spaced the cooler off the flat bar because of my bolts right here. I have 2 bolts on each flat bar, as far apart as I can get them, and there's nut inserts inside this channel. So that's all bolted solid. Now what we're going to do tonight, we're going to wire the fan in after we put the element or the switch in this little riser. We're going to wire that in, we're going to wire the fan in, and we're going to go, actually a really nice little connector right here. We're going to wire it clear up to the battery, call that good. We also need to come back to the tranny and grab one of these cooler lines, cut it, splice it, do all that fun stuff too. So where we're going to start off tonight is on this end, on the cooler end. Now, for perspective here, that cooler is right here in the truck. Right behind the trans, right behind the transfer case, right there. Fuel tank starts right there. First thing we need to start doing, I want to start at the cooler. I want to tighten everything down, and I want to start running hoses forward to see how far forward I can go on the tranny cooler line. So we need to start doing that. So the first part of all this is building the lines. This is what I consider an air quip fitting. I don't know the actual term, but this is what I've always known them as, and what I was taught to know them as. So this guy right here, you're going to take it apart eventually. It helps if you put a little grease on that. You're going to take one end of your hose, you're going to slip this guy on the hose, and let's see here before I throw that on there. So some of these fittings, if you can see in there, some of them are threaded, This one is just barbed. So what you're gonna want to do, so what you do is you shove this guy on as far as you can, and you can kind of see at the end of the threads in there, hopefully you can see, it's bottomed out. And you're gonna take this fitting goes in this fitting, and then you just kind of thread the fitting in there. Now I know there's nicer ways to do this, not a janky crescent wrench and an old ass end wrench, but this is what I have right now. So I'm just gonna keep going. Now some people, I've heard, will tell you to maintain a small gap between these fittings. I don't like that. I don't feel comfortable with that. So I take the fitting all the way together. Out there. See if I can't cheat. Yeah, I can. Okay. So now that's on there. Now I know, and beat me up if you want. I don't care. I did mar the fitting up a little bit. You're not gonna see this. All right, second line gonna be the same way. We're gonna run 2 separate lines. So this is where we're gonna start. Push it all the way down. If you can see that, it's bottomed out pretty well. I hope you can. Let me see here. This helps. See that bottomed out? Hopefully you can. Take our other fitting, just like before. Thread this one into that one. I like to hold this one stationary because I don't want to create any slippage on this one and have it walk up the hose. So I want that one to stay intact, in place, and I want to run this one down. And I really am truly sorry about the wrench situation, but it is what it is. This is what I got right now. Run this down into the fitting. That ain't going nowhere. So now we have 2 lines. This is just going to be on the cooler, and then we're going to need to run this, cut this, measure it, do all the fun stuff. Start a rear line on there. Did I ever charge this thing? There we go. Here we go. Well, that's a swivel fitting, so it's not gonna matter. Okay. Oh, thanks, light. It worked for a minute. That was cool. Oh, don't do that. Smack the people. that and let it kind of come up. Good. Cool. That is good. So that's our lines. Now we need to move that way. If you can see these two cooler lines, one is a hot line, the other is a cold line. Hot line comes out of the trans, goes up to the coolers. Cold line, as it sounds, comes from the coolers. Now, let's address this real quick. Jake, if you're watching this training leak right here, not the pan. There is, I don't know how to show you. I'm just gonna hope you can see this. There's a pass through right there where the wires go into the tranny. Hopefully you see that. That's leaking, not the pan. So when you're watching this, I didn't create this leak. This leak needs fixed. But we're gonna go into this line right here. This is gonna be the line we want. Because like I said, I do believe that is the line from the coolers. That is the cold line. And like I said, I want this cooler to be last in line. So this is going to be the last thing to cool the fluid. So I'm going to cut it right here. See that right there? And then show you guys what I'm going to do to get this thing in line. That's about what I thought was going to happen. Nothing. I'm not gonna get lucky on that, am I? No. Oh. Oh no. Well, yeah, kinda. Get on there, you little bastard. That's dumb. Come here, little crescent. Your time to shine, little buddy. Your time to shine, little buddy. Cooler line engaged. Oh yeah, bud. Oh yeah. Grab our line cutter. Flip our line cutter up some more. Line cutter engaged. You cut line. We're being nice to you, Mr. Line Cutter. Okay, back to our trusty garbage can workbench. I don't even care if you talk crap about it. It's a flat surface. So we cut our hose, our hard line. So our hard line got cut. This is what we're gonna couple into. This is one thing I was a little confused with the kit, because the kit says it comes with all the fittings to do this, and it doesn't give you enough hose to run all new cooler lines, but it didn't come with compression fittings to tie into the hard line. So I don't understand what they were expecting you to do. But I ordered some compression fittings because, like I said, they were not in the kit. So what I'm gonna do is, we cut this off the tranny line where we're gonna hook it to the tranny. I need to cut this line, probably again right here, so that I can put the compression fitting on this side and show you how to do that real easy before I go into there and do the other side. So we're gonna take our ancient line cutter thing, which, don't feel bad for this thing. It's been through hell, and it's on its last leg. I ain't knowing, I just don't use it very often. So I take the pliers and I really cinch it down, because I don't care about it. But you don't cinch it down. You don't try to cut the line in one go, because it never works out. So just little bits at a time. You tighten it down, you roll it around, then you tighten it down some more, roll it around some more. I'm only going about quarter turns on each. If you do get your hands on one of these things, a fresh one, I promise you will work a lot easier than this. Okay. Next, not required but recommended. Take your little deburring thing, deburr the inside so that you don't get any weird shavings or anything in your fitting. So this is that compression fitting I was telling you about. This, unlike the air quip fitting I was showing you earlier, it's a little ring, brass ring, 3 pieces. You want to take the butt end, stick it on your line. You want to take your little brass thing, stick it on the line, and stick that on there just a little bit. Now this fitting, stick it on there just a little bit. This fitting is going to set the depth of this brass thing, so don't go too crazy. Even if you do, it's okay, because it's going to figure itself out. But you want to push the line into this fitting, and it's going to push that brass piece back where it wants it, right? So for this one, get it off. That's about as far as it wants it, just like before. So I can't show you inside there, it's getting too dark. But this pipe is bottomed out in the fitting, right? So now, just like before, instead of tightening this fitting into this collar, you want to tighten this collar into this fitting. So this fitting is not one that I'm going to ram together. I just went on it until it wanted to stop. So what you're doing with these fittings is, you're taking this little brass piece, right? And there's a ramp. I don't know if you can see the ramp. It's beveled on both ends. You're definitely not going to see inside this one right now, but this one, it's beveled right at the inside. What you're doing is you're taking this little ring, and since it fits so tight on the line itself, you are belling that ring into the hard line. This won't leak once it's tight enough. Don't leave this too loose, because if you leave it too loose, it can slip off the pipe. If it doesn't dig into that pipe and make a seal, this can actually move off. And when this moves off, your fitting moves off, and then you're in a world of trouble, because you're not going anywhere anytime soon. But if you tighten them too much, you take a risk of maybe cracking one of these fittings, if they're not good quality or whatever. There's about a million things that could happen. So you want it tight. You want to make sure that when you're done, I mean, it's not going anywhere, right? I would grab this whole thing with a wrench, try to spin it, and it's not going to spin. That means it's doing its job. So that is how I'm going to adapt. Now, the kit did come with more fittings. I'm going to use these 45s to take the line up and over the drive line, tie into the frame like I want to, and run it back. The only thing I really have left to show you on this whole project, because I'm not going to be able to get down there and do the other end of this line like I want to without being in your way. So I'm going to get down there, I'm going to do that. Then I have to measure the lines, cut that soft line, put the other fittings on, the other ends on, hook everything back up. Then we're going to run electric, run our power and ground. Again, no big deal. So let me climb down there. I'll get this not finished up. I'll get this kind of moving, and then we'll finish the project. Alrighty guys, it's the day after, but we finished the hoses last night. It got dark, so I couldn't show you that. I'll show you that in a minute. But the last piece of this puzzle is wiring that fan in. This is what they send you. This is the harness for the fan. This is an extra little goodie bag here. They send you this little T, which I really like. You can tie into fuses. This is also the switch that's going to go down on the cooler. They want you to tie into a 12-volt source, and that's where those little fuse taps come into play. So I'm going to do this exactly how I did the air compressor in my truck. I'm actually going to take that fuse tap. I'm going to go into fuse 40, which is a 20 amp fuse. I know this works because I have a full air compressor runner off that. So we're going to get this wired up, and then we're going to show you how it works, and then we'll finally be done with this. I actually really appreciate what they do send you with this kit. So they send you, since this is truthfully a universal kit, right? You can put it on anything. They send you two different sizes, the big fuse size and the little fuse size. We're gonna use the little fuse size on this Dodges because they don't use the big fuses. And all I need to do is I need to strip our wire back on this guy. And crimp it. Like so. And now this part's ready. The one confusing thing about this harness is it's split power and ground. You can do quite a few things with that, but I do think it's kind of strange they did it that way. So for this part, all we need to do is come in, pull our fuse. The fuse you take out of that circuit, see how there's two slots, goes in the second circuit. This is to ensure, so what this is doing is it's piggybacking off the circuit. So putting this fuse back in this holder means that this circuit right here is going to work proper. This is just pulling off of this circuit. So essentially, if this circuit ever pops, this circuit's still going to work. That's plugged in there. We're going to run this out the bottom. I'm going to put a notch in here. Someone's already been here wiring stuff and they did not do that, and it kind of hurt their wire. I'm going to put a little notch on the bottom so the wire can run out safely. We're going to run it out the bottom and then back to our cooler. kind of skipping along here. So I showed you guys how I wired it up here. I went ahead and wired it down there. I'm trying to stay positive about this kit because it is a really nice cooler. But there's a couple things I get it. I understand. I mean, truthfully, the cooler was probably designed to be put up here under the hood in front of the other radiators, like a big heatsink. Well, I didn't want it there. I wanted it back here in its own clean air. So there's a couple things that they just don't account for, right? And the thing I was up against is wire. So I didn't have enough wire harness to get from the battery down to the connector down there. So to be honest, that's kind of that bugs me a little bit, but I'm gonna show you what I did anyways. I had to come down here and add wire, basically cut the connectors out of both harnesses, which I really didn't want to do because it's nice to have connectors to be able to take things apart. And I went to try to use the connectors and they broke. One of the wires pulled right out of the connector. So you know what, we're hardwired, and I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna tie everything up nice, I'm gonna loom everything because I have some loom. But I just want to show you guys how it works, that it works probably really good. But anyway, the little thermostatic element I was telling you about, if you can see that, it's right here. It's a little 2-wire guy, and that's gonna plug in right here. They do pre-wire this side, and it's really good. So how that switch works is when the cooler gets hot enough, right, it closes these contacts, and when it closes the contacts, it turns the fan on. That fan, believe it or not, moves a lot of air. So I have no doubt that this thing is going to work really, really good. I have no doubt this thing's going to work really, really good. So all I have left to do, I'm just going to go ahead and get it done, is plug my spades in, loom the wires, tie everything up real nice, fill it up, top the fluid off, and this project's done. So if you guys have any questions about this cooler, I'm really sorry. This was kind of a weird jump around, like unorganized kind of thing. It was kind of start working on it after work one night. Oh crap, I didn't video it. Got it all mounted up, whatever it may be. Anyway, you have any questions about it, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Get a hold of me, whatever it may be. And I really appreciate you guys watching, because without you guys watching, I probably wouldn't do this. So with that being said, thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.